Welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we introduce them to professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a very special guest. Gina, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Rob. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Please introduce yourself and the name of your business.
So my name is Gina Martinez, and I'm the founder of GoldLeaf Homecare Network. We're based out of California.
Awesome. We so look forward to learning more about your business. But before that, we want to learn a little bit more about your story. And we understand that time is one of the most valuable resources we have. So let's jump into it and tell us a little bit about your journey.
Oh my goodness. Where do I start? Well, I can tell you that I'm originally from Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
So when I moved to the United States, as the usual story, my mom and I had nothing. I saw how relentless she was. She really inspired me. There was nothing that could stop her in just making my dreams to become successful, in life. And one of the things that I noticed is that even at that beginning of the journey, we had a lot of angels in our life that kind of held our hand throughout, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the theme for my whole life. I have not been able to achieve everything that I have achieved, without people that have really just held my hand and just said, "Come this way,"
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically, right out of college, I met one of my mentors, Mark Mangrum. He owned a small charter company, uh, kind of managing smaller charter aircraft in Texas, in Dallas, actually. And he taught me everything about the business. The company grew very quickly, and I learned everything from sales to project management to, uh, you know, anything that he could teach me, he did really. And from there, I just happened to meet another one of my angels that not only brought me into Chicago, but he also taught me everything about Antonov 124s and 747s and how to charter those. So I got into bigger aircraft,
Mm-hmm.
and then and so that was a huge challenge, but I loved it. Traveling around the world, of course. And then finally, I moved to California about 17 years ago. And as I was expecting my first child, I really, again, had no idea what I was doing, right? I had no idea about babies. And so one of the things that I have done is always try to, research on my own, trying to figure out how do I build myself a community of support. And so I created a moms group, and it was about 350 moms in the local area. And that went so successful. It was really fun to meet and really support each other at that time in our lives. And one of the moms just randomly said to me, "Gina, I'm going to find my dream job and you're going to work for me at some point." And I'm like, "What do you do?" And she said that she's an engineering training manager, like training guru, basically. And I was like, "Engineering? Are you kidding me? I have no idea about tech. Like, how are you going to teach me?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to support engineers? There's no way." And she said, "Trust me, I got you." And so basically, that was it. Another one of my angels kind of brought me into tech, because in this area in Silicon Valley, that's really pretty much the dominant industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was it. I started as a program manager at a boot camp, engineering boot camp, just, kind of coordinating the speakers and things like that. And slowly I started to look at how to improve it and tweak it and just really make it more meaningful, because I saw the impact it was having for people. I saw that as engineers are joining, the more information I was able to kind of gather and the more I was connecting them to people, the easier it was for them to, for that, anxiety that they have at the beginning as they're joining a company. And many of them would come by and say, "Just thank you. There's nothing like this at any other company." Just very, very grateful. And I really enjoyed that. I really appreciated that part of it. And then that's when I just, you know, continued to grow into different programs. I became a director of engineering enablement for this particular company. And then I thought, okay, if I can do this for one company, I can do this for more companies. So I started to challenge myself, and I did that for a few other companies in the area. It was just fast growing startups, and it was very, very successful. And I loved the job. I loved the impact that I was having on people. And while I was doing that, basically, I noticed a lot of the things that were happening in my friends' lives, right? And in my life, I saw how people were um, trying to figure out how to help their parents, and their sandwich generation, they're taking care of their kids, they're taking care of their jobs, this and that, and also now all of a sudden their parents um, are having difficulty. So that's what brought me into this particular industry of caregiving.
Okay. It seems like throughout the entirety of your life, you either had people that were helping to take care of you or you were taking care of other people. Throughout that experience, what made you feel as if, say, for instance, when you got ready to start your women's group, that it was important for you to make sure that they had a place where they can go to and get assistance on what they needed?
What made it important for me
Mm-hmm.
is just it's basically that I saw that especially in Silicon Valley, what I noticed is that there's a lot of people that are kind of transitioning. They come in because of their jobs. There's all these tech companies hiring like crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's a lot of families that are just starting here, that they have left, they moved here, and they were like in my situation, they were on their own. There's not, that family or community support yet that they're trying to build. And so it really connected us in a different level.
Nice. Do you still have connections from those groups that you had in the past?
I do. Yes, I do. Absolutely. Yeah,
Good.
it's been really wonderful.
Yeah, that just shows the testament to you that you were able to provide a great service and a great group for people that you still have contact with them now. Now, you went through a couple different transitions from not knowing to doing some airplane rental sales or charter sales, going over to the helping with the engineering business. Now, tell us a couple of those things that you learned from the engineering business and putting together those programs that you still use to today.
It's that there's only so much one person can do. But one of the things that I think I kind of realized is, like, the more I gather people and connect them, the more, that I use their expertise to support, the more I use a community to support other people,
Mm-hmm.
that's where you see a bigger impact. And so that it was kind of like the thread in my head as I was thinking, okay, when I heard about caregiving, I thought, okay, this is definitely a pattern that I can translate from my tech world, and
Mm-hmm.
like building those connections for the engineers as they were joining the company, and connecting them with the experts, and really building their expertise, instead of them taking 6, 8 months to do their own onboarding. Now I was reducing it to less than a month,
Okay.
right? Because we're
Nice.
able to find the right information right away and just become very productive. And so that same kind of thought is what I did for caregiving. It's like, okay, if I'm only the one caregiving, I can only help one person at a time. But if I can gather the best caregivers in the area and really make sure that I find the right people, with the right heart,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's only gonna make such a bigger impact on the people that really truly need it, and it's the individual, elderly, or people with disabilities, and also their families who are desperate for help.
Now, it is a big difference going from the tech world to home care. Was there an event that happened specifically that made you say, you know what, I know I have experience in this, but now I want to burn the ship and go all in on home healthcare?
Yeah, for whatever reason, I never heard about home care ever before.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I dealt with that in my own family with dementia and also cancer. I saw how it just completely flipped the family upside down. It really impacts every single member. Because not only are you having to deal with the emotional part of it, but now, you're trying to figure out how to balance your own world, your work, and it's a lot. It is a lot. And I myself, when I moved here, again, I had no friends, no family. At some point, I did was here by myself. I was divorced, and I did not want to depend on my friends to really take care of me, and I had to have a surgery. And so I was just thinking, like, what am I going to do? Like, how do people do this? And I randomly just asked this lady that I had met like a month before um, at one of the moms groups. And I had asked this lady, just by chance, do you know anybody that can just come and help me? And then she kind of explained that, oh yeah, I used to work for this caregiving as a caregiver. And then she just kind of exposed me to this whole new world that as I was like, oh my gosh, there is this opportunity to help people just like me or that are need that extra hand that maybe not do not have the support that they need right away,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a major transition for me because that's when I started to really focus and begin to I started to research more in the industry.
Yeah.
Uh, I literally randomly called um, people that were experts in the field. I called company owners all around the US um, to really learn, can I get behind this? Can I put a business together? What part of the business should I go into? And I met this again a couple in Texas. They're my angels as well. They're my mentors in this business, and they were so kind to me. They told me they've been in home care for over 11 years. They've been very, very successful. And they said the same thing, initially it's so hard. It's such a difficult business to get into, but they learned and they were my biggest supporters.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they've been amazing. So I spent some time actually with them in Texas, just learning, what they do and if it's something, again, how do I implement what they're doing, which is excellent here. And that's what I've been doing slowly but surely. I've been trying to, make sure that the gaps that I saw in the industry that people were telling me about, that I'm focusing on those gaps. So I became a caregiver myself, trying to understand again the business, and I started working here as a caregiver, and I saw how some of the gaps in the industry, I saw some of the gaps in the other agencies, and so that's where I started focusing on is in number one, really finding the best talent possible here. And, I would say I can tell you that probably about 80 resumes or even 100 resumes that we get, I probably only hire one caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
Super picky with who comes into my team because I really have to know that they have the same passion that I have for what we're doing.
Yeah, it's always good to try to find that person that's going to keep your reputation high. It's
Mhm.
not one of those things where you just want to take on someone and they do a couple things wrong and then all that you've built will go down just because you didn't choose the right person. And I definitely appreciate you sharing that portion of it because next I want to ask you, tell us all about GoldLeaf and what it is that you do, who are you looking for? Tell us all about the business.
Of course, of course. So basically, we're a non-medical home care agency. And what we do, I know it's a lot of people have had experiences with agencies, and they've had bad experiences, unfortunately. There are some um, places which are more commercial, more, contractual, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the difference of what I do is I become a really that family member, right? That is going to be there for you. So a lot of my clients really just started with me as they just maybe they gave up on driving.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some of the elderly just finally realize, oh, it's time for me not to drive anymore. But now, how do I get my groceries? My family, my sons, my daughters have moved away. I don't want to bother them. What can I do? And so a lot of the families that I start with, which is not the usual, I start with them with just, minimal hours, 4 hours here, one day a week, something like that, until they feel comfortable with us. Um, and also that way I can see as they're needing more time, we can talk through it. They're already used to, our care, and so they're more open to allowing us in. So one of the things that the biggest challenge I think for some of the elderly or families and with caring for the elderly is that you have a caregiver in your house. Yes, you do. You have a caregiver in your house. It is somebody that is a stranger initially, but that's the point. The point is that this particular caregiver, it's going to be your right hand. you know they're not there just as a stranger kind of in your way. They're there to support you. So instead, the way that I talk to the families about seeing the caregivers is to see that they are there to give them that independence that they need,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
To be able to say, hey, I want to go visit my friend. And, if they want to maintain their social um, aspects of their life, yeah, they can maintain that quality of life with the support of a caregiver driving them, or, companionship. We're social beings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what we do. We just want to improve people's lives. We're not there, you know, uh, uh, our point is not to be there for somebody to have to uh, kind of give us tasks and everything. We're there to support, so we're going to be able to see where you need help. And, if we've done everything from helping somebody that has diabetes, making them stabilize, making sure that we're buying the right food, preparing the right meals so that, their uh, sugar levels stabilize, right? Um, we provide personal care and hygiene. So if anybody needs additional help with that, we can do that. Companionship, medication reminders, um, safety and supervision. Sometimes uh, people may not be so aware that they do need that additional help. Maybe they're starting to lose some mobility. So my caregivers have a plan that number one is, let's maintain strong legs. So even if you are not as mobile as you were before, let's do some sitting exercises. Let's get your strength back,
Mm-hmm.
so that you're able to maintain healthy and to be able to stay at home longer if that's what you would like. It's more comfortable, right? So yeah, we're supporting in every single way. Another thing that we do is we specialize on dementia care. And what does that mean? So there are different types of dementia. And one of the things that I noticed from the field is that a lot of people say, yeah, we take care of people with Alzheimer's, we take care of people with dementia. But when it comes down to it, as I was interviewing some of the caregivers that are working for 8, 9, 10 years in the field with different agencies, and I'm talking to them and I'm asking them, okay, how would you manage, let's say, a situation where, somebody is hallucinating? How do you manage a situation with somebody is going through a sundown episode? how do you manage if you see somebody with dementia and you're asking them to take a shower and they don't want to take a shower and they haven't taken a shower in a week? What do you do? And a lot of them were just could not give me an answer. And so that's when I noticed, okay, I really need to focus on this because I know that there are some techniques that I could teach them that it's just going to be making an impact on the individual that they're caring for, right? Because when you have somebody with dementia, a simple question like, "What would you like for lunch?" Like that's already a heavy question. A lot of them are not able to process that, and so they get frustrated with themselves, right?
Hmm.
And um, and that's, why as a caregiver, why would you add to that stress that they're having? So when you know that you're dealing with somebody with dementia, there's different levels. When you see that they're kind of staring at you, like, what did you just say? Then you need to quickly help them. Okay, would you like some, a salad or a soup, you know, or, give them choices, give them a sense of control on their life, depending on what level, again, of dementia they're in. um, they might not they might not want to do some of the normal things like maybe changing their clothes. So to give them that, to be empathetic and to give it that sense of control, you say, would you like to, you look so great in this red shirt, what about today you change to your red shirt, or would you like a blue shirt instead? Give them choices, give them things instead of saying, do you want to change? Do you want to shower? What do you want for lunch? Type of thing. So there's different approaches and then there's different techniques that I focus on training the caregivers on to make sure that when we're taking care of somebody with dementia, somebody with Down syndrome, somebody with autism, that we're helping, that, we're doing the right job.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing the services that you're providing and the specialty that you have when it comes to dementia. I think you mentioned earlier you had to deal with that earlier in your career or your life. So, I can see how it is a special thing for us. For you, I want to have a follow up question to say, as far as geographically, I know you're in California now. Are your services just solely for there, or do you help in a larger area? Tell us about your geographical target.
Yeah, right now we're focused on in California and San Francisco Bay Area
Hmm.
at the moment. So all the peninsula and the South Bay, and we're expanding soon into the East Bay. But yeah, maybe in the future, also I'm talking to a couple of people about possibly even franchise opportunities.
Okay. Yeah, just want to make sure that the audience know where you're able to provide these services. So if they're close to you, please reach out to Gina. She can help you with that. Now, as you've explained the business, you have told me a lot about your journey, how it is that you're helping people, and a bunch of things that you have done in the past and what you're currently doing. I'm confident that over that time you have acquired and nurtured a bunch of best practices or business skills that have helped you to be successful. Do you mind sharing with us a couple of those skills?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, is that it's just meeting the client where they're at. I don't just say this is what we do, kind of like a menu type of thing. No, what I do is we customize our care based on the client, so that whenever we're talking to somebody, a lot of the times they're worried, oh no, I don't want somebody here like for more than 4 hours. And I tell them that's okay. If I can match the right caregiver at the right location, we can stop by even for an hour if that's what you would like.
Hmm.
So I try to customize my services to what they're looking for instead of them having to adjust to my rules and my policies and what I want. Does that make sense?
It does. Having flexibility and meeting someone where they are, not where you want them to be, is a very
Mhm.
important thing to do because not everybody is the same. So
Exactly.
I definitely appreciate you sharing that, especially as these adults get into the senior level. They're so used to certain things, and the mind gets a little bit weaker as we get a little bit older. So it's good that you don't have a rigid program. You say, hey, this is your situation, and you put it together from there.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes a huge difference for my clients. And I see how it impacts them because, they're more open to allowing us in to start with. And they understand and they trust us at the end to provide even more care as they need it.
Yeah, that's a magnificent model, getting them to know you first and then,
Mhm.
gaining from there. Now, I definitely appreciate you talking about your journey, about your business, about those business skills. But now I want to talk about you specifically. So let's just say that the network just continues to grow. You eclipse the East Bay and make it all the way over to the East Coast. And time and money is no issue at all. What is it that Gina would do with her time?
With my time, oh my gosh, I don't even know. Right now, my whole focus is is my families, It's like after you're oh, my community has grown so much that my biggest concern is always them. So it's kind of hard to kind of bring back the focus on me,
Hmm.
to be honest. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, what I do want to do is help more families, and so maybe grow this even further, and maybe get to the point that I can actually take a vacation.
Okay, okay. Now, we're one of those places or a couple of those places that you have on your bucket list to go to.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I've been to Iceland a couple of
Okay.
times, which I absolutely love, love, love. And I
Hmm.
still haven't seen the entire place. So I
Okay.
may have to go back to go actually for a little bit longer.
Okay.
But yeah, somewhere like New Zealand is
Hmm.
also kind of in my bucket list. I haven't been even to Asia at all, except India.
Hmm.
So yeah, so many places to explore, still a lot,
Yeah,
out there
yeah.
for me.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. It's a big world out there, a lot of things to see, and I definitely appreciate you sharing that. Now, Gina, if someone that is watching today has questions about your journey, the business, or those business skills, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Oh, obviously they can always call me. Yeah, the phone number is 650-861-8228. And that is actually, a lot of times I pick up, or if not, my assistants pick up. But yeah, that's the best way to go. Pick up the phone, let me know what are your concerns. I'm happy to talk anytime. We're open 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Yes, that is magnificent. I have been in my profession for many years and I love doing the phone call more than
Hmm.
anything else because it's direct. You can hear my voice. It's not a text. You have to, decipher what am I trying to say. You actually hear my voice, and I always find that the best mode of communication. So thank you so much for sharing that. And as always, we appreciate all of our guests for coming on and sharing their ups, downs, and all around. So we always honor you guys by giving you the last word. So Gina, if you don't mind, please look into the camera and tell the people something good.
Well, for me is courage. Always, always, and that's one thing I always try to tell my kids and try to tell everyone that I know. Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. And I think
Mhm.
it's a quote from Mark Twain, and that is so true. All of that I have achieved, it hasn't been because of lack of fear. I had the fear, but if you have a goal, if you have a dream, you can make it happen. Just keep. Nobody gets to the top of the mountain by jumping. You take one step at a time.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those wise words, and thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate your time, and thank you all.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And to everyone that is watching, be kind and thanks.